The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Savage.
It is the Savage Nation. We're talking about the revolution that's occurring in America, and make no mistake about it, this is being orchestrated by the White House, by Rahm Emanuel, by David Axelrod. Now, why do I suspect that is true? Why do I make such a bold accusation? Do you remember what Obama's radical chief of staff at the time, Rahm Emanuel, said, the now mayor of Chicago? He said, "You never want a serious crisis to go to waste." You forgot that, right? Now, that's right out of the Cloward Piven playbook. I wrote about this in Trickle Up Poverty. You got to read it. I don't want to read from my own book. I have too many books that I've written. The Cloward Piven strategy advanced socialism and advanced the socialist agenda in their own country. And the fact of the matter is, they're a husband and wife duo. They were lifelong members of the Democratic Socialists of America. And they advanced a method for pushing socialism, which was to leverage a manufactured crisis to advance the socialist agenda along with the redistribution of wealth. Plain and simple, this is what's going on right now. This is right out of the Cloward Piven playbook. And that's why Team Obama thrives on creating or leveraging crises by demanding quick action, which is a vehicle for socialist change. Quick action. Remember, the slowness of our Congress is the mark of a democracy. Quick change is what socialists like. That's what the Cloward Piven strategy is all about. In short, in order to usher in socialism, Cloward Piven taught this: make a crisis, make it publicly visible, make sure it involves disrupting some institutional or societal sector, and capitalize on the social unrest it produces. If that's not what's going on right now, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. New York, WOR. Bruce, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Michael. Yes, I'm on WOR, listening on WOR. I agree with you that this is a crisis. However, neither the Republicans nor the Democrats are offering a solution. Wait a minute,
hold on now. Which is the crisis? Which is the crisis?
People demonstrating in Wall Street in reaction to the wealthy. Let me finish what I wanted to say. When a Wall Street banker takes out millions of dollars while his corporation is losing money, that's a crisis. And neither.
All right, so ask yourself, why is it that General Electric, which controls MSNBC, paid no taxes last year? How's that possible? Why are they not? Why are the people not outside NBC headquarters demanding that Jeffrey Immelt be arrested? Tell me why. Tell me why they're focusing on Wall Street. Why aren't they focusing on tax evaders like him? How could General Electric make $5.1 billion and pay no taxes? You have to ask yourself, what triggered this against Wall Street? You think that this is spontaneous?
Are we going to have a conversation, or are you going to talk all the time?
Wait a minute. It's not your show. It's mine. You won't answer a question. Why are they not picketing NBC?
They probably should be. And I agree with you that Obama and the quick change is very dangerous. However, how about changing?
How about the $735 million that was given to a solar company last week at the last minute or a week before, and the brother-in-law of Pelosi sits on the board? Does that bother you?
How about if we change corporate law?
Whoa. I asked you a question. I'm talking about specifics rather than generalities, and that's why I know you're not sincere. I am giving you examples of people who should have protests outside their office. Why is Jeffrey Immelt above the law? Why are there no protesters outside Pelosi's office asking how she granted such a loan?
Why can't we change corporate law so that the preferred stockholders decide how much money the CEO gets paid? Now, there's a solution.
Well, that's an easy one. That's certainly easy to do. How about recalling some of the rules that Bill Clinton took, putting back the controls that Bill Clinton took off, which permitted this wild speculation on Wall Street? Would you go for that, to control Wall Street in that regard?
Yes, the Davis-Bacon Act. We need to recall that.
Well, I think that it's not the Davis-Bacon Act. I would go all the way back to the Glass-Steagall Act, which your friend Bill Clinton removed in order to let this wild speculation begin. I would then go to the uptick rule, which George Bush removed in order to let the hedge fund thieves take control. So I called for both of these things to be reenacted. The uptick rule, Bush removed it, letting the hedge fund manipulators like Soros make trillions of dollars, in my opinion. And I want to go all the way back to Bill Clinton, who removed the Glass-Steagall Act, which was put in place after the Great Depression to prevent the very thing that's going on Wall Street now. So in that regard, yes, there is a legitimate Wall Street and there's an illegitimate Wall Street. And I think that the illegitimate operators on Wall Street need to be called on the carpet, so to speak. Oh, what happened? Guess he hung up. Did you notice that call, ladies and gentlemen? If you're new to the Savage Nation, here's how it works. Since I am the most important media personality in America, since I know more about what's going on and have a greater grasp of the facts than anybody in the history of the media, I often get activists who work for the very opposition that I speak, who call the show and pretending that they're the average outraged man, and they try to disrupt the show by coming up with nonsense such as rules we never heard of or laws or this or that. I gave you two specifics. Did you notice he hung up? Did you notice that when I said, yes, reenact the uptick rule, reenact Glass-Steagall, which I wrote about in great detail, and trickle up poverty, he hung up. So he was not a truly outraged man who said that Wall Street is the problem. Did you understand what I'm saying to you? Does anyone listen to this show? What do you want me to just tell you family stories about Fat Al and Fat Al's tuna? What do you want me to just get up here and entertain you? Is that what you want, a comedian? I'm not going to be a comedian for you. You got a Russian Revolution going on in the streets of America. And unless you understand who your enemy is, and unless you understand who's behind these rabble, you're going to lose everything you own. You don't understand what's at stake. I do. I have never been wrong about international affairs. I told you Jimmy Carter would disrupt the Middle East to the extent that the Muslim Brotherhood would take over Egypt. Was I wrong? I told you that just as the fools in the media like that thing, Anderson Cooper, that creature from West Hollywood who was excited because the boys of Egypt had tight dungarees and Blackberries, he thought that they were good. They weren't good. This was orchestrated by George Soros's money. Jimmy Carter and Brzezinski were the architects of the so-called Arab Spring, which I said to you when it occurred was the Arab darkness, the Arab winter. I told you that. I was right long before anybody else was right. And if you think it's over in the Middle East, you're mistaken. They're burning churches. They're killing Christians. It doesn't matter to you because you hate Christians, don't you, all you atheists? But when they come for the atheists, who's going to defend you? Right now they're coming for the Christians, but they're not coming for the atheists, but they're next. And it's the same in this country. You got to understand something. We are watching a revolution because we have a revolutionary in the White House. And he's not a good revolutionary. He's an evil revolutionary. He is a lifetime naked Marxist. That is my humble opinion, based upon his history, based upon the invisibility of his presidency, based upon the shady secret deals that he conducts every day of the week, based upon the criminality coming out of the White House, based upon everything I see. A man who refuses to show a valid birth certificate. A man who applies for college aid as a foreign student and then denies he's a foreigner. A man who has a social security number from a state he's never even lived in. A man who orchestrated the sale of murder weapons to Mexican drug cartels. A man who can be held in contempt of court, in fact, was held in contempt of court, Obama, for illegally obstructing oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. A man who requires all Americans to purchase a product from a third party, which is unconstitutional. A man who spent $1 trillion on so-called shovel-ready jobs and later admitted that there was no such thing as shovel-ready jobs. A man who abrogated bankruptcy law to turn over control of companies to his union supporters. A man who bypassed Congress one weekend to implement the DREAM Act through executive fiat, violating the Constitution. A man who granted a secret amnesty program that stopped the deportation of illegal immigrants across the U.S., including those with criminal convictions. Shall I keep going on? A man who demanded that a company hand over $20 billion to one of his political appointees and terminated America's ability to put a man into space. A man who encouraged racial discrimination and intimidation at polling places and refused to let the Justice Department investigate the Black Panthers. Shall I continue? I will continue because you're watching a revolution occur, but they are so skilled at what they're doing. They are so intelligent at their methodology that you don't even see it going on. It's as though it's occurring in slow motion. It's as though by sleight of hand, Obama and his communist cronies are inducting you into a state you will never be able to get out of. I'll be right back.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.